In this video, we are going to continue working on the single post page. Specifically, we are going to be adding the rest of the content on the page. So this includes the description or the body of the article, the sidebar, and these components like the author bio, as well as the suggested post carousel. So all this is these are all the elements we are going to be adding. So let us go to our code base and open single post.html file and scroll to the section where we indicated the HTML4 page container. Now the page container is everything within the page, starting from below the banner to on top of the footer. So all of this is divided into two main parts. We have the body of the article itself on the left, and then on the right we have the sidebar. Okay, so the body, or this middle part, we are going to call it the main content, and then the other one, of course, is the sidebar. Okay, the main content is going to be a bit long, so we should just indicate a comment here to indicate where it starts and ends. Okay, now the main content is simply going to have a section where we display the body of the post. Okay, so this is basically where we display the actual text of the post, and then immediately after that section we have the author bio. So let us add that. So it's a div with class of author bio, and the author bio itself is split into two main parts: the image to the left and the details to the right. So we will add a div with a class of avatar wrapper, and that will represent the image to the left. And then the other part of this author bio is going to be the bio wrapper itself. For the avatar, we are only going to have an image tag inside, and it will point to the assets folder, images, avatars, and then our.jpeg. And that will be all for the avatar wrapper. The next part is the bio wrapper itself, which is made up of the name of the author, a small bio of that author, and the social media links. So for the name, it is going to have a link, and let's give it a class of link. And within that, we will have a level 3 header wrapping the name. So that is what will give it this bold or this default heading styles. Alright, so that is it for the name. The next part in this bio wrapper is actually the bio itself. We are going to give it a class of primary fonts, and we should also give the body a class of primary. So what this does is it is going to give the text this particular font family and font size, and adjust its height, line height, and so on. So we want the two sections to have the same font styles. Okay, so we have added the bio section for the user. Let me just add content creator as the bio. And then after the bio, we have the social media profile links. So we will add a div after that bio with a class of social links, and each is going to be a link element with a class of with a class of td none, so that we don't have any underline effect on the icons within them. So each of these is going to have an image tag within it, and it's going to point to the icons folder under assets, images. Okay, let's set the first social media link or icon to be Facebook, and we duplicate this like 2 more times and modify them to point to Twitter and Instagram. And that is all for the author bio section. If you take a look at the finished project, you will notice that after the author bio section, what follows is the suggested post section. And that section is basically just a slider. So to get this slider, since we have already implemented in the home page, we are just going to copy it. So before we copy, I'm just going to indicate where we are going to place that slider. So within this suggested post section, we will place a slider. So I'll open index.html, that is the home page, and I will copy any of these carousels. So one of these section elements that has a class of carousel container, I'm just going to make sure I copy the opening and the closing tag for that carousel. And then I paste it within the suggested post comment section in our single post page file. Okay. Now, one difference between this carousel and the ones on the home page is this one does not have the preview of the text. So if you go to the home page, you will see that we are adding a preview of the text on the postcard. Meanwhile, on the details page, we don't do that. So I am going to remove all these post preview elements because we don't need it. So I remove it on all the articles. And I can just use a shortcut here. I will select what I want to delete. I press Command D on Mac, and it is going to select all occurrences of that particular string, and then I can just delete them. Alright, so this is going to delete all the post preview elements at once. Okay, so that is all for the suggested post section. After the suggested post section, we have the comment section, but we are not going to add this right now. We're going to leave it for a later video. And that will be the end of the first or the left side of the page content. The right side is a sidebar, so let us add the CSS, or rather the HTML in that element. Okay, I'm going to maintain our tradition of labeling where the HTML for any particular elements begins and ends. So the sidebar is going to have, let me say, we're going to add a topic speaker on it. It is not here on the finished project, but we are going to have it, so I'm just going to add it here. And after the topic section, we will also have another section for the image. This image you see here. Let me just add a div. And each sidebar section is going to have a class of sidebar section. And we need this class because we are going to be adding some space between one section and the other. So we need all sections to have this class. So I'm going to add it to the topics section as well. Okay, so within the topics section, we are going to have a title. We'll give it a class. It's an h2 heading element with a class of title, and we'll just say topics. And then we will have another div with a class of topic list, and within that we will have a list of articles, or rather a list of topics. Okay, because I'm so lazy, I'm not going to write think up some topics. I'll just duplicate this one a few times, and that will be all for the topics picker or topic section on the sidebar. Right, the next is a image section, and I haven't yet downloaded this image. I'm just going to do that really quick now. I'll right click on the image on the finished project and save as. And then this is my project folder on the desktop. I'll go to the assets folder, images folder, and I will just save the file within that. And then back to our HTML, we are going to point to that assets folder and make sure we navigate to images and pick the file we just downloaded. I'm just going to give a width of, let me see, 300 pixels, just to make sure the image is not overly large, as we can see here. Okay, so let me refresh this page, and this is how our page looks like. For the description or the body of the article itself, I'm just going to copy at least 1 or 2 paragraphs here and add it on that particular section, just to make sure we have some data to work with. And let me see, I will undo and then make sure I place each paragraph within a paragraph element. So that is one paragraph. I will go to a new line and add another paragraph, and that makes it 2 paragraphs. Okay, so this is how the page is going to look like when we add only the HTML. So our next step is to style this using CSS.